Okay, welcome back to the channel. Now, on today's audiobook session, we are going to discuss about the summary of the book 0 to 1 Notes on Startup or how to Build the Future 2014. The writer was Peter Thiel and Blake Master is a seminal work on the entrepreneurship, innovation, and the philosophy of building the transformative company, drawing from the Thiel's experience as a co-founder of the PayPal and the Palantir and as a venture capitalist at the founder fund. The book argued that the true innovation going from 0 to 1 requires creating entirely new market and the product rather than integrating on existing one. Okay, at first we have introduction, the challenging of the future. Child opens up with the proactive question: what most important truth do people agree with you? This set the tone for the book's emphasis on contrarian thinking. He argued that the future is not a linear extension of the present, but something that must be actively shaped through the bold and original idea. The title 0 to 1 encapsulates the distinction between the vertical progress, creating something entirely new, or going from 0 to 1, and the horizontal process, improving or scaling existing idea, going from 1 to n. For example, inventing the smartphone was 0 to 1, and breakthrough while producing a faster phone is 1 to n. While points that the startups are uniquely positioned to drive the vertical progress because they can operate with the agility unencumbered by the bureaucracy of the large corporation. He challenges entrepreneurs to reject conventional wisdom and pursue ideas that others overlook, setting the stage for book exploration of how to build companies that redefine the industry. Chapter 1, Challenging the Future. While I expand the distinction between the vertical and the horizontal progress, aggregating that the globalization is spreading existing the technology globally is not suitable for technological innovation. He wants that the modern world is overly focused on efficiency and incrementation, which stratify the breakthrough. For instance, the rapid globalization of manufacturing has lead to the cheaper good but hasn't produced fundamentally new technology like the internet or a stream engine. He introduced the concept of definite optimism, a mindset prevalent in a mid 20th century where society believed in the clear plan for the better future. Example, Apollo program. In contrast, modern society often exhibit indefinite optimism, expecting progress without a specific goal, or indifference and pessimism, fearing decline without a plan to address it. Try advocate for a return to defined optimism where entrepreneurs take responsibility for creating the future through the deliberate and ambitious vision. Example, SpaceX mission to colonize the Mars reflect the definite optimism as it pursue a specific transformative goal rather than the vague hopes for the space exploration. Party like 1999. I reflects on the dot-com bubble of the late 1990s, drawing a lesson from the excessive and the failure. He argued that the bubble taught the entrepreneur followed lessons such as prioritizing the speed over substance or chasing trend over unique idea. The collapse of the company like Pace.com shows the danger of scaling without the sustainable business model. However, our trial also sees the value in the optimism of that era when entrepreneurs believed technology could transform the world. In contrast with the post 2000 caution, where the startups become overly conservative. The key takeaway is that the founder must balance bold vision with the disciplined execution, avoiding the both reckless experience and the teamed intuition. And the PayPal co-founded by the Thiel survived the dot-com crash by focusing on a specific problem, secure online payment for eBay user and iterating the rapidly to achieve product market. Now, chapter 3, all happy companies are different. The most robotic argument is that startups should aim to build a monopoly, not to compete in the crowded market. It challenges the economic dogma that the perfect competition is ideal, aggregating it dash the profit to the zero and stifles innovation. Monopoly, by contrast, generates the profit and stability needed to invest in the long-term innovation. He distinguished between the monopoly and competitive business. Monopoly have unique product, strong branding, or a network effect that make them unaccessible. Example, Google's 90% share of the search. Competitive business struggle to differentiate, leading to a price war, and then the margin also. Example, airlines. Child advise the startup to start in a small unreserved market where they can dominate before expanding. For example, Facebook began with the Harvard a student before scaling globally, and Amazon started with the books before becoming an general e-commerce platform. Citric argued that the monopoly company can harm the consumer by reducing the choice and raising the price. Child counters that creating the monopoly does build an innovation benefit society by delivering a unique value, unlike a rent-seeking monopoly. Example, utility exploiting regulatory barrier. Now, chapter 4, we have the ideal competition. High critics that the cultural obsession with the competition, arguing that the distract from creating the true value. He uses the metaphor of the word to describe the competition. It's a destructive and often leaves no winner. Instead, entrepreneurs should aim to avoid the competition by creating a new market. He shares an anecdote from the PayPal's rivalry with X.com, later merged with PayPal, noting that the competition consumed resources that would have been spent on innovation. The lesson is to focus on differentiation rather than battling the rivals. For example, Tesla didn't compete directly with the gas-powered car maker, but created a new market for an electric vehicle. Now, application entrepreneurs should ask, what market can create that doesn't yet exist? This mindset led to the Airbnb to transfer the spare room into the global hospitality platform, sidestepping competition with the traditional hotel. Now, on the chapter 5, the last mover advantage. Charlie introduced the concept of the last mover advantage, arguing that the company that creates the definitive solution in the market reaps the most reward. While the most movers get attention, last mover often dominate by perfecting the idea. Like Altbuster was an early search engine, but it was overtaken by Google, which offered a superior algorithm. Now, Apple wasn't first to make a smartphone, but became a market leader with the iPhone's polished design and ecosystem. To achieve the last mover status, startup must focus on durability, building a business that can sustain its monopoly over time. This requires the proprietary technology, network effect, economic of scale, or strong branding. Example, Microsoft dominance in the operating system persisted for the decade due to the network effect. Everyone used Windows because everyone else did. And economy of the scale, how marginal cost for the software distribution. Okay, now chapter 6, you now are not a lottery ticker. Trial challenges the notion that startup success is purely the luck driven, advocating for the demystify mindset while chance to play a role. He believes that the careful planning, unique insight, and disciplined execution can significantly improve outcome. He contrasts the indefinite thinking, relying on the luck or the diversification, investing in the many startup, hoping one succeed. Now, definite thinking, focusing on a single well-executed plan, like Elon Musk focus on the Tesla and SpaceX. Use the power to illustrate this in the venture capitalist fee investment yield outside return. Similarly, the entrepreneur must prioritize the high impact decisions such as choosing the right market or the team rather than hedging their bet. Palantir, co-founded by the Thiel, succeed by targeting a niche government data analytics and relentlessly refining its product rather than chasing the multiple market. Now follow the money. Child explains that the power law, emphasizing that it applied not only to the venture capitalists but also to the startup and individual career or a small number of the decision market or the opportunity to drive the disproportionate outcome for startups. This means focusing on one key product or the market, avoiding the temptation to diversify too early. For individual, it means investing time in the high impact opportunities such as joining a promising startup or learning a valuable skill. Citics that the Pebble Mafia alumni like Elon Musk, Red Hoffman, and Max Levchin as the evidence that being a part of the single successful venture capital lead to the outside influence. In application in 2025, the rise of the AI startup illustrate the power law. Companies like X System AI and Entropic, which focus on the specific AI application example, safe AI system or enterprise solution are outpacing the border less focused on the competitor now the secret chapter 8. Thai agreed that the world is full of secret, undiscovered and unpredicted truth that can lead to the breakthrough. Successful entrepreneur identify that this secret by questioning the conventional wisdom. He distinguished between the natural secret discovered about the physical world, example the penicillin, social secret like the insight about the human behavior or market example Airbnb realizing that the people would rent the standards home. Now the tell laminates that the society has become less curious about the secret favoring the incrementation over the exploration. He encouraged the entrepreneurs to ask what a valuable company is nobody building and pursue the answer that order dismissed. Now Uber's secret was the people would trust stranger for the right if the platform ensure safety and convenience and define the expectation about the right sharing. Some argue that the still overemphasize the contraism as not every startup need a secret to succeed. Now, incremental business, local service can still thrive without redefining the market. Now, chapter 9, we have foundation a co-founder partnership be built on the trust, complementary skill, and the shared vision. Thile one against the equally split example 50-50 ownership as they can lead to the gridlock. Now, team are the people who are passionate about the mission and fit the culture. Thali advises the Agnes hiring based on the credential one, citing the people success with the tight night mission driven team ownership, position, and control. Align equality, ownership, day to day role, of position, and decision making control to avoid the conflict. For example, CEO with the minimal equity may prioritize the short term gain over the long term vision. Apple early success esteemed the contemporary partnership between the Steve Jobs visionary and the Steve Wozniak engineer, but later conflict highlighted the need for the clear rule. Now the mechanism of the mafia style explore the roles of the culture in the startup, comparing strong teams to the mafia or even cult due to their instance loyalty and the cohesion. Citics that the paper culture which fostered the paper mafia, a group of the alumni who went to found a company like the Tesla, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Now, key principle for building the strong culture, unified mission, employees will believe in the company purpose, no freeloader, avoid hiring people who prioritize the personal gain over the mission. Now, a small, tight, and neat team, early hires will be bond like a family. Company like XAI foster strong culture by uniting the employee around the mission, advancing human scientific discovery, which drive the retention and innovation. Now, chapter 11, if you build it, they will come. Style debunks that the myth that the great products sell themselves, emphasizing the importance of the distribution. He categorized the distribution strategy based on the customer lifetime value (CLV), high value CLV, enterprise software, personal sales teams are effective as seen in the Palantir government contract, low CLV, viral marketing. Advertising work bit as seen in the Facebook growth through the network effect. He also highlight that the interplay between the product and the distribution. A great product with a poor distribution will fail, just as a strong distribution can save a bad product. Thali advised the startup to allocate the resources to both engineering and the sales, avoiding the trap over prioritizing one. Slack grew through the combination of the superior product, intuitive messaging, and the viral distribution word of the mouth among the tech team. Now, man and the machine. Charlie addresses the relationship between the human and the technology, particularly in the context of the automation. He argued that the computer are the complement, not the substitute for the human ingenuity. For example, people use the algorithm to detect the fraud, but relied on the human analytics to refine the system. He critiques that the fear of that automation will eliminate the job, suggesting that the technology creates a new opportunity by augmenting the human capability. However, he warns that the startup must integrate the technology thoughtfully, ensuring it align with their mission. Example, AI startups like XAI use machine learning to enhance the human decision making in the scientific research, not to replace it. Now, seeing Green Thal examined the clean energy boom in 2000 using it as the case study in the startup failure. Company like Solindra failed because they competed in the crowded market without the differentiation. He outlined the seven questions every startup should answer. Engineering, can they can create the 10x better product? mm, Timing, it is the right time for an idea. Monopoly, can they can dominate a small market? Can they have right team? Can you reach the customer effectively? Will your market position last? Then can you identify the unique opportunity? I argue that the clean energy startup often fail multiple front, lacking proprietary technology or a clear path to monopoly. Now, Tesla succeed where others failed by focusing on proprietary technology, battery timing, rising environmental awareness, and branding luxury electric vehicle. Now, the founder paradox. Explores that the role of the founder, who are often both visionary and eccentric. He argued that the founder must balance the extreme trade, example, confidence and the humility to succeed. For example, Steve Jobs was both a visionary and polarizing figure which fueled the Apple's innovation but also created challenges. He once against replacing founder with the professional manager too early, as they often lack the vision to sustain a monopoly. However, he acknowledged that the founder must evolve as their companies scale now. Elon Musk's persistence with the Tesla and the SpaceX illustrate that the founder paradox is unconventional approach drive the innovation but invite the controversy. Now, stagnation or the singularity. I'll conclude by asking whether the future will bring the stagnation or the technological singularity, a point of the rapid transformative change. He argued that stagnation is the default unless entrepreneur actively pursue 0 to 1 innovation. He calls for tackling the big problem energy healthcare space through the bold definite optimism. Example, in the constraints of child vision aligned with the companies like SpaceX, which pursue the ambitious goals like Mars colonization, contrasting with the incrementalism of the many modern startups. Now, border implication relevance in the 2025, we'll discuss about this also. Now, 0 to 1 remain highly relevant in 2025 as technology continue to shape the global economy. The book's emphasis on the contrarian thinking resonate in the era of the rapid AI and the biotech, where the breakthrough requires the challenging established norm. For example, companies like XAI are pursuing 0 to 1 innovation in the artificial intelligence, aiming to create a new market rather than compete in the existing one. However, child monopoly Citric philosophy has sparked the debate. Citrics argue that the monopoly can stifle competition and harm consumers. Citric example like Amazon dominance in e-commerce, which has raised antitrust concern. Other note that all the startups need to aim monopoly status. Many successful businesses thrive in the competitive market by focusing on execution and service. The book focus on definite optimism is particularly pertinent in 2025 as global challenges like the climate change and the healthcare demand a bold and long-term solution. Thile framework encourage the entrepreneur to think beyond the short-term gain. Okay, now Citrix and Contract nutrition, ethism, a thile focus on the exceptional founder and the monopoly may alienate the entrepreneur building a smaller, sustainable business. Monopoly risks seek to argue that the monopoly can lead to the compliance and exploration as seen in some giant practices. Limited applicability, the book's tech-centric perspective may not fully apply to the non-tech industry like retail or service. Thile liberation old view and the Silicon Valley lens may not be resonate globally or different economy and the cultural factors shape the entrepreneurship. Despite this citric 0 to 1 remains at the cornerstone of the startup literature. Founder think bigger and bigger. Now, the practical application identify a secret or look for the undiscovered market or the unmet need. For example, Stripe identify the need of simpler online payment processing, creating a new market. Start small, dominate, expand. Focus on niche market to achieve monopoly like dominance before at Airbnb did on vacation rental. Now build a strong team, prioritize the cultural fit and the mission alignment in hiring as seen in the company like XCI. Now balance the product distribution, invest in the both engineering and skill as Select did to achieve the viral growth. Now think long term